While the two-handed backhand reigns supreme in the world's top 100, only 11 players dare to use the one-handed backhand. But here's a shocker. 3 of the top 10 have made it their weapon of choice. Against all odds, the one-handed backhand is far from obsolete. The one-handed and two-handed backhands offer stark contrast in style and effectiveness. One is adored for its relentless consistency, while the other is praised for its graceful elegance. One of the greatest players of all time, Roger Federer, was known for his elegant and effortless one-handed backhand. In the same decades, Novak Djokovic, his rival at the time, had a two-handed backhand, which is a model of power and precision. In this speech, we will investigate the pros and cons of each backhand and why the best backhand ultimately comes down to the player's unique strengths. Whether you're a tennis player or just a fan, comprehending the difference between the two backhands is vital. For players, you could lose years of working on technique if that doesn't fit for your style. For fans, it changes the way you appreciate the game because the backhand isn't just a shot, it's a statement of skill, strategy, and style. Even if you've never touched a racket in your life, this choice matters more than you think. A backhand in tennis isn't just about slapping a ball well. It's about mastering a skill, playing to your strengths, and making the right decision early. Tennis is a game of life. Choosing the wrong approach can set you back, but while the right one will set you free. Having played tennis for years, I've experienced both backhands firsthand. For 5 years, I used a one-handed backhand before switching to a two-handed this last June. Training at John Newcomb's Tennis Academy solidified my decision as I learned not just how to hit a two-handed backhand, but also the key differences between the two styles. To truly compare these two backhands, we will break down the differences between the two styles. Because it is a more common choice in today's game, we will start with the two-handed backhand. The two-handed backhand offers much more control and stability. If you are new to tennis, it's going to be a much easier time learning it just because of the extra stability with that second hand. It's also a much more compact shot, meaning that there's less movement in the shot to make it go worse and make you miss. It's actually quite a bit easier than the one-handed backhand. Flint says in her article, having a second hand on the racket means you can achieve that much more power much more easily because you have that extra support. Also, higher balls are a lot easier to handle. Because of that second hand, you can flick over the top of the ball and get those shoulders and your body to push the ball deep into your opponent's side of the court. But this backhand does come with some cons. The lack of leverage is one, meaning that you cannot reach as far as you would with the one-handed backhand, and it's not quite as versatile of a shot. It's also a little bit harder to learn how to hit a slice or a volley because it's not as natural of a swing. Novak Djokovic's two-handed backhand is a staple in tennis because of how compact and how consistent it is. It's like hitting against the backboard. On the contrary, Roger Federer's one-handed backhand is so graceful and elegant that you are too mesmerized to see the attacking train of a shot coming. Roger Federer's backhand comes with a lot of pros. The first pro is it comes with a more attacking shot. On page 5 of her article, Flint notes that the one-handed backhand allows for a faster swing, more rotation, and a fluid motion, making it a much more aggressive, free-throwing shot. Also, you get more reach. Because you don't have that second hand on your racket, you can really get further with the shoulder rotation and all of that. It also helps develop your shots. Because you have that only the one hand on your racket, the slice and your volley both get better because it simulates a similarity to that one-handed backhand. And on top of all that, it just looks freaking awesome. But again, this backhand does not come with perfection. It's very hard to gain the strength and control that you need to keep this backhand in the court. Because it's such a one-handed shot, you need to strengthen that dominant hand's forearm a lot so you can keep the ball in play. Also, the timing and the strike zone have to be perfect. If you hit it in the right spots, your ball is going to go exactly where you want it with enough control and enough spin wherever you want. but if you miss it slightly, you're going to spray it to oblivion. Either backhand style is going to be a deadly choice in the game of tennis. The choice ultimately comes down to how the ball feels off your racket. I cannot stress this enough. It must feel natural. The main thing is to pick one and master that technique. The two-handed and one-handed backhands are more than just different techniques. They represent two different philosophies in the game. One is like an unbreakable brick wall, and the other one is like a train hurling at you. It's graceful aggression versus unstoppable consistency. Roger Federer's fluid one-hander and Novak Djokovic's rock-solid two-hander are two perfect examples of excellence. So, which one would you go for? The strong, reliable, consistent two-handed backhand, or the graceful attacking artistry of the one-handed backhand? Thank you.